All right, here we go. Happy Monday, you guys. We have just about hit the mid-month point, which is kind of crazy. It just flies, right? It really does just fly. And I know a lot of us are gearing up. We jokingly, but not so jokingly, call Maycember, because it is just as crazy, if not crazier than the month of December. So I know our school's here. We've got 2 weeks left. So it's all the things going on. And so here's what I want you to know. Life, it never stops, like never stops. I used to laugh at my grandmother and be like, oh, the older you get, time just flies, And now I'm like, oh my gosh, she wasn't kidding. It really does. But we get to decide what we do at that time. And we get to decide the things we prioritize and the things that we make time for. And you are here for a reason. You're prioritizing even being here on this call tonight for a reason. And so I want to help you focus in, but tonight I really want to focus in on why you're focusing in and what the difference maker in that is. But before we kind of jump into that, just some reminders. Tomorrow is the last day for $1 enrollment. So hopefully you guys have your list. You've been doing all the follow-ups. You've been posting, you've been putting it in your stories. But it's a little bit, I always feel like when we have these discounts, it almost feels like a mini last day of the month, right? Because people are like, oh, I know you told me about this last week, but let me wait till midnight. And on the very last day. So I know tomorrow will be crazy town. I'm super excited to see on both teams the impact that we make tomorrow with this sale. People are essentially getting $20 off to get started. And that's huge. So take advantage of that. We also have Save 10. So if you have anybody who did not order last month, they can order this month with $10 off with Save 10. And then obviously the Give 10 is what we're stacking with the $1 enrollment to give people $20 off. So that's everything that you have at your fingertips to go out and to offer to people. We have our Thursday night events, Thursday, 8:30. So I know we always Mondays are kind of our customer care days, honing in on that. And then tomorrow we'll hit the ground running with what we have to plug people into, invite them to, and all of that. Okay. So I want to spend some time. Hopefully you guys brought pen, paper, something, because we're going to do some reflection. We're going to do some asking some questions that I want you guys to think about. But the first thing that I want to ask you guys is write down what your check was from Plexus this month. Like, what was your commission check that you got paid on the 15th of this month? And now I want you to look at that number and I want you to think, how would life be different if your check was 10 times that amount? So 10 times whatever you got paid this month. How does life look different if that's the amount that you're making? And then I want you to ask yourself, what is your belief that that can happen? When you look at that number, what are the thoughts that enter your mind? Here's what I want you to know is there is someone, no matter what level you are at right now, there's someone who is making that number, that 10 times of whatever you made in Plexus. And they're not making that number because they have all the secrets to network marketing. They're not making that number because they are extremely skilled, because they have all the influence in the world, whatever other reason you might think of. The reason that they are making that number is because they have a different set of thoughts than you have, because they have a different level of belief than what you currently possess. That's the only difference. It's not some great secret. It really is in your level of belief. I want you guys to think about, I would assume most people on here have probably seen at least one diamond documentary, somebody's story of how they made it to diamond. I want you to drop in the chat, when you have watched a diamond documentary, what thoughts come to your mind when you're watching it? What feelings does it kind of give you as you are watching other people's stories of their journey to diamond? Give me some words in the chat. Addie makes me want to run. If she can, I can. Excited, excitement, belief. I love that. Spirit chills. Nervous. That's good. I love the honesty there. Love the honesty there. Okay. Here's the thing. Inspired. I love that. That's a great word. So I want you to think about the difference of, I think sometimes we watch these other people's stories, and I love this. It makes me nervous, Samantha said. It makes me inspired. Does it make you inspired for them, like a good for them? Or does it make you inspired for you? What thoughts, when you then replace that with, what if this becomes my story? Could this become my story? What is your level of belief when you flip it from watching it be somebody else to it being you? And again, I think that's where the difference maker is. It's all in our level of belief. So I want you to ask yourself, up to this point, what has built your belief in this opportunity? Every single one of you on here have some level of belief in this opportunity, or you would not be here. You would not be on this call tonight making time for this if you didn't have some level of belief. So I want you to think, what makes you show up? For the things that you show up, the way that you show up, whatever level that looks like for you, what has built your belief to the point that it is at right now? You can answer in the chat, or you can just think and reflect on that. Encouragement. I like that. Seeing where they all have come from and where they are now. Love all the aspects of this business. Prove to me anyone can do this when my customers get the results they came to me for. I love that. Okay. Now, unless you are brand new, and some of you are pretty new, I'm going to assume at some point in your journey, you've probably faced some kind of challenge or some kind of obstacle. What kept you going despite any challenges that you've faced so far? What has kept you going? Again, you can drop these in the chat. I like the open conversation. Pouring into personal growth, Jenny said. My team. Someone needs this. I love that. Knowing there are still people out there that need this. My kids watching me. In fact, this is my full-time income. I love this. The community, knowing this helps, always having the community that cheers you on. I love this. All right. So now I want you to think about what's going to help you remember that. What's going to help you build your belief to the point where you're like, I am doing this. I'm deciding that I'm doing this, even when I face those obstacles. Because here's the thing, you have to stay close to the fire at all times. If you're not staying close to the fire, that's where belief goes to die, right? When we isolate ourselves, when we get alone with our thoughts, when we're not pouring into what's feeding our mind and feeding that level of belief, that's what's going to cause us to backslide in this and to not go where we want to go. But there's two pieces to this that I've learned. Is also, I want you to think about, what are some things that your uplines have done or said that have helped you to build your belief when maybe you were struggling with your belief. Megan said Ash bugging me. Vision casting. Yep. Knowing that they've been where I've been and had the same thoughts. Staying consistent and get yourself, teaching me to reroute my thoughts. Thought work. Sending me positive affirmations about myself, and you recognize my strengths and encourage me in them. These are good. Okay. Do you feel like you know how to do that for your team? These things that your upline has done for you, do you feel like you know how to do that to your team, for your team? So here's the reason why this is important. At the core of everything is your belief and your thoughts. And not just yours, it's also your team's. But guess what? You cannot feed your team belief and thoughts that you don't have yourself. Y'all, belief and thoughts, it is not a fake it till you make it. You can't fake it. You might think that you can put it out there, but it always comes out. What you are truly thinking and what you truly believe about yourself and believe about yourself in this opportunity will trickle down to your team. You can't pour from something that you don't have for yourself. And here's what I feel like is happening. Y'all, I've been doing this for 8 years. I know Bree, I think, is around the same. I know you're a little longer than me. Why are we still here? Why do you think that we are still here 8 years later? I'm still showing up every Monday night to be with my team, a team that has looked very different over the last 8 years. Why am I still excited about this? Because I believe in it. Because I believe in not only what it has done for me, but what it can do for each one of you. And I think I can speak on behalf of Bree in saying, do we have really big goals in this still? 100%. But you get to a point in this business where so much of it shifts to just like, I have lived out and fulfilled so many of my dreams. And now my heart is impact to see all of my people living out their dreams and all of their people living out their dreams. But I cannot believe for you. Bree cannot believe for you. I mean, we see it for you, but you have to believe for yourself. And your belief is going to fuel every single way that you choose to show up every single day. I love this thought. For those of you who are following along with the Daily Keith, and this whole last week, he's been talking about doing mentorship calls and coaching your team. And I love this idea of thinking ahead 5 years from now. What do I want life to look like 5 years from now? And I love his perspective of think about, I know maybe not everybody is a mom here, but where are my kids going to be in 5 years? In 5 years, I'm going to have a kid in college. I'm going to have a kid who's a junior in high school. I'm going to have a kid who is learning to drive, about to drive for the first time. What's life going to look like? And what do you want life to look like? What moments do you want to work for now to be in then? Because this isn't a quick overnight thing. We have to have long-term vision in it. But the only thing that anchors you in long-term, I get it, we're a society of quick fixes. The only thing that anchors you in long-term is your thoughts and in your belief. And so when you sit and you really ask yourself, what do I want life to look like in 5 years? And do I believe that I have the ability to make that happen? And the truth of the matter is, you do have the ability to make it happen. But what are you believing? So here's what I want you to know is that everything that you are doing right now comes from a specific thought and a specific belief that you have formed in your mind. And so if you feel like I am not getting the results that I thought that I would get from this, then you have to change the thoughts and the beliefs behind what you are doing. The only way you get a different result is if you have a different thought. And the beautiful thing is you get to choose your thoughts. Every day we get to wake up and we get to choose what we focus on. And what we focus on is what expands. And then you fuel your belief into what that thought is. Because I get it. When we have been told certain things our entire lives, y'all, there are so many deeply rooted things that I believed about myself. A lot of y'all know my story. I got pregnant when I was 19, before I was married. I never finished college. I never had a lot of work ethic. I never had a job. And so I would sit and tell myself, well, this is just kind of my lot in life. I guess I'm just meant to be a stay-at-home mom because I never got to finish college. And I'm kind of a failure because now I'm a teen pregnancy statistic. And all of these things that I believed about myself. And if I still believed those, I would not be here today. But I came to a crossroads. I came to a point that you all get to come to. I'm nobody special. I didn't go to a special thought training school. Did I feed my mind with different things? Did I pour into my mindset? Yes, because I saw what was possible here. And I knew if I believe this about myself, if I believe that I'm nothing more than a teen statistic who never finished college and can't amount to anything, that's never going to get me where I want to go. The only way is if I decide that's not my lot in life. It can be different if I choose for it to be different, because I choose to believe that it can, and I'm choosing to think differently. A lot of you are stuck in a cycle, and I see it because I coach so many of you. And your thoughts that you are currently having are not serving you. And you're sitting there and you're playing the victim and you're feeling sorry for yourself. And I don't say that from a place of judgment. I say it from a place of I have been there. I've been there. But do you know where playing the victim, do you know where you will be a year from now? In the same place, if not further behind. So here's what I am calling you to. Here's what I'm calling you to tonight. That you are going to make a decision. You're going to decide right now. I want you to go back and I want you to look at that number that you wrote down. That 10 times whatever your May check was. I want you to sit in that. Like, don't, when we get off this call, don't rush off into, back to life. I get that life is there. Even if it's just 2 minutes of sitting in whatever that number is, letting yourself feel what will it feel like and how will life look different if this is the number that I'm making on my check? And what am I going to do to fuel the belief that it can happen? Here is what I know. And I will say it till I'm blue in the face. I say it all day long. When the why is strong enough, the how becomes easy. You will figure out how if you truly believe in your why and you truly believe that it's possible. There's nothing stopping you. I was talking to somebody today. She was having a lot of frustrations with her upline. It's a sideline friend of mine. She's like, I'm just kind of feeling lost. I don't know if I'm supposed to still do this. Like, I've got this tumultuous relationship with my upline. And I was like, no, like, that does not matter. Do you know why you are here? Then what's going on with your upline does not matter. Stay laser focused on what you want. Believe that you can do this. And you can. You'll figure it out. Brie and I are testament to that. Like, we saw what was possible. We decided we weren't going to let anything hold us back. And we figured it out. And so when your why is strong enough, when you have the belief that it's possible, you 1000% will go out and do what it takes to figure it out. You have control over your thoughts, which gives you control over your habits, which gives you the result that you want. So what are you believing? Take an inventory of your thoughts. Sometimes we have to sit down and we have to recognize those negative thought patterns, those negative beliefs that we're having that are holding us back. That's your key. You're not going to find it in how to do network marketing book or anything like that. It all is up here in what you're believing and in what you're thinking. So even for the rest of this month, we have half of a month left. What are you telling yourself for the rest of this month? What are you telling yourself is possible? What do you truly want? And what are you believing is possible? Because I promise you, whatever your excuses are, somebody else has it, but they're letting their why drive them beyond their excuses. Your excuses are nothing special. I don't mean that to be harsh, but I just know from doing this for 8 years that whatever your excuse is, somebody else had the same excuse, but chose to let it drive them and not to be their excuse. Why are you here? What do you want from this? How does life look different from this? And what are you going to believe differently so that you reach it? Bree, do you want to add anything?
Y'all, drop a 1 in the comments if this was just straight fire for you. Because I'm like, heck yeah, I need to hear it. I had so many things that I was going to type out. Like Bethany gives me 5 minutes. Like if I'm having a bad day, she could tell through a text message. She's like, 5 minutes, you got 5 minutes and then we're going to figure out a way and we're going to move past it. Because here's what ends up happening, right? We've got these negative thought loops, and then the negative thought loops move into a coping mechanism. And that negative thought loop coping mechanism usually looks like anything but plexus, right? I mean, y'all know, it's scrolling. For me, it's rewriting the same list 20,000 times because I want it to look prettier and I want to be able to check stuff off. It's going and doing laundry because those things make us feel like we're accomplishing something. And then we micro quit all month long and think, oh, tomorrow I'm going to put up a post. Tomorrow I'm going to reach out to my upline. Tomorrow I'm going to find somebody to sit in misery with me. And then we get to the end of the month, and what are we doing? We're so upset. So we send out 45 messages and we can't figure out why people aren't messaging us back because we've micro quit for so long. And then micro quitting for week after week becomes month after month. And we can't figure out why we're not getting where we want to be. Y'all, you're allowed to have bad days. You're allowed to have a couple of bad moments. You're allowed to have time. I mean, Bethany and I both will be completely honest with you at any point in time. We have times where we're like, what are we doing? Oh, yeah, okay, this is what we're doing. It makes us all human. Both of us in our chats, Bethany shared it first, and then I shared it in mine too. Did y'all really look at that graphic? If you didn't, open up the team chats right now and look at the graphic with how much a silver, a senior silver, a gold, and how many hours you would have to be at another job. Go to the grocery store right now, y'all. We're all feeling it. Is that going to make you plug in more? Or do you want to go work someplace for 90 extra hours instead of putting up a post, instead of reaching out and doing customer care, instead of listening to the training calls that we posted today with Jess Heffley talking about the business? If you want a business, you have to talk about the business, right? Get over our dang selves because it is not about us anymore. And if you're here, it's not about us. We just make it about us because it's so much easier. And then we sit and we stay quiet. And if you're on this call, y'all, you are made for more. You're already doing more than 90% of other people because you make a decision to show up. But now you have to take that to the next level because you can get off of every single call. And unless you implement it, unless you do something with it, it will not change your life. And some of us think like, oh, but if I can't start until I have the belief. No, y'all, every single action that you take cures inactivity. If you are struggling with your team, go send 10 messages. If you don't have a business builder, go listen to something that pumps you up, listen to a call, send 10 more messages. Go look at that number that you just wrote down, send 10 messages. Those are the things that are going to get you into action. This just popped into my head because I think that two of my kids just walked back in. We got home from the ball games tonight and they immediately wanted to go down to a pond at the base of our driveway and go fishing. I promise you, if they stand there at the edge of the pond with their fishing poles and the worm in their bucket, they're not catching anything. The reason that they catch so many is because they're willing to cast over and over and over again. You have to be the same. It is not any different in your businesses. Are people going to fall off? Yeah. Are people not going to understand what we do? Yeah. You just have to be willing to keep showing up. It's going to make you different than anybody else that's out there. Okay. Back to you, Bethany. We'll close it out.
All right, y'all. Half a month left, more than half a month left. You get to decide what it's going to look like. And I can't wait to see, because here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize, but you think, yes, changing your own thoughts, because we enter dialogue with ourselves more than anything else. Like, we talk to ourselves more than anything else. So yes, it 100% impacts us. But when you change your thoughts, it starts to change who you are and who you become. And that is visible. Like, people can see that. And so that's something that not just your upline will see, because I promise you, once you start to change your thoughts and your beliefs, your actions are going to change. And when your actions change, your results change. And it's going to be like, what is she doing? And this is one of my favorite things when like people start to have shifts in their business. So many times people are like, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, tell me. And it's like, no, it's who I'm becoming. It's how I've chosen to think differently. And so I'm showing up differently and I'm attracting people differently because they are getting the best version of me, because I've chosen to change the way that I talk to myself. And so I'm believing that massive impact is about to happen in these last, what's today? 13th, 17 days of the month, something like that. Wait, and we have 31 days, whatever. Y'all know I don't math. Anyways, however many days are left, we're going to see massive impact, because I'm believing that you guys are going to go and you're going to make a decision tonight, and you're going to sit in that thought of what life's going to look like, and you're going to change your thoughts and you're going to change your beliefs, and we're going to have a huge end of the month. All right. I love you guys. Have a great rest of your night, and we will talk to you guys later.